God damn. Talk about a powerhouse launch for a video game. I'm, of course, referring to Black Myth Wukong, which has taken over headlines because of the insane numbers we're seeing for this game. The title has been surrounded by much hype and anticipation. That first trailer alone, I remember way back when, kind of being blown away by it, and since then, every trailer has garnered tons of views, and the audience for the game has been substantial because of the material that it tackles, the Monkey King kind of mythology, and the way they're bringing that with sort of a AAA coat of paint alongside gameplay that is reminiscent of something akin to what FromSoft might do, maybe with a little God of War in there, with boss battles that look utterly epic, with set pieces that look pretty jaw-dropping. The game has come out, it has gotten great fanfare, but the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. On day one, this game instantly peaked at over 1 million players. This right here is a tweet from the evening of August 19th, 2024. It was just this almost instant 1 million mark on Steam that the concurrent player numbers hit. But then we look at what's happened since and what's transpired over the last 3 days or so. And now we're looking at numbers that indicate that Black Myth Wukong has peaked at an all-time peak concurrent players of 2,415,000. So right here we have the full kind of rundown of how this played out. So we kicked off with, roughly 1 million players, and then that became 2.2 million players. Then the following day, 2.3. Then the following day, 2.4. And now we've seen that dip slightly, but not by much. It's still roughly 2.3 million players who are coming back to play this game, or who are buying into this game with the word of mouth that is spreading. Just absolutely incredible numbers. And we're looking at all-time peak concurrent player numbers that put Black Myth Wukong at number 2 when it comes to the most all-time peak concurrent players we've ever seen on a video game on Steam. PUBG Battlegrounds still remains untouched with 3.2 million players, but it beat Palworld, freaking Counter-Strike 2, Lost Ark, Dota, and as far as single-player games go, which is what Black Myth Wukong is, it beat Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3. And that's what's especially crazy about this game achieving such numbers, is that it's not this epic multiplayer live service thing. It is a single player experience. And then the reviews, looking at them, you can see how many players have engaged with the game based on the fact that it's already got almost 300,000 reviews, and the game's only been out for 3 days with an overwhelmingly positive score of 96%. And I mean, the game has gotten a lot of praise for its combat and boss battles. Also, the presentation of this game is absolutely gorgeous. Now, while we're talking about how gorgeous this game looks, we can also talk about displays that can be used to really make the game's visual shine, which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, RayNeo Air 2S. Awesome AR glasses perfectly suited for gaming. So these glasses are super easy to plug and play on gaming devices such as PCs, phones, and consoles. And with up to 600 nits of brightness, the micro OLED screens project sharp and colorful images in a conveniently portable package. Think of it like having a giant 201-inch screen that you can just wear and carry around with you, whether you're indoors, outdoors, or traveling. One that also produces great audio thanks to its 4 full-range speakers that provide dynamic stereo sound. These are super comfortable to wear as well thanks to its lightweight and adjustable temples and nose pads, with options for attachable prescription lenses as well. I recently decided to see what it'd be like to play Black Myth Wukong on it, and the game and its insane graphics just looked fantastic on these screens, with really clear images, no blurriness around the edges, and gameplay that felt super responsive. And with how big the screen looks and how good the 4 speakers sound, I could sit or lie down in any position I wanted for maximum comfort, while still being fully immersed in a way that I wouldn't be with other screens. And beyond gaming, you can also, of course, pull up your favorite movies and videos from your favorite streaming services and devices and whatnot, and enjoy a comfortable and convenient large screen viewing experience. If immersive gaming and media viewing on the go is up your alley, the RayNeo Air 2S is kind of the perfect device, and you can use my link in the description and comment section below to get yours today, and use the code RayNeo2S to get $40 off your purchase. So, all right, we got insane Steam peak concurrent player numbers. We've got overwhelmingly positive reviews. So I guess then the next question becomes, how many copies has the game sold? The numbers on that front are insane as well. The official Black Myth Wukong Twitter page recently tweeted the following. It reads right here, Black Myth Wukong has sold 10 million copies across all platforms. Thank you to all players worldwide for your support and love. It's also worth noting that the game hasn't come out on Xbox yet. It will at some point. It's out on PC and PlayStation 5 right now. But yeah, I mean, 10 million units sold, a single player game, 10 million units across 3 days is unprecedented. It's insane to see numbers like these. This is, by the way, Game Science being the development studio of the game. It's their third game that they've made since their founding back in June of 2014. So this is a studio that was started by former Tencent employees who just wanted more creative autonomy. And Black Myth Wukong, it was kind of a big gamble for them. They clearly put everything into this in terms of financial investment and manpower and resources to really kind of make their AAA mark in this industry. And I have little doubt that this game has made its money back. We're talking about roughly $600 million US in revenue, looking at 10 million copies sold in roughly 3 days. Now, it is important to understand where these numbers are coming from. Keep in mind that Game Science is a Chinese development studio, and the mythology that they're tackling is pretty much the most well-known legend in China. And so a lot of the players who are engaging with this game are very much Chinese. And China is a country with a population of like 1.4 billion, roughly. And if we look at numbers and current data, there's a clear sign that the majority of players for Black Myth Wukong are, in fact, Chinese. And so this game has garnered a lot of fanfare and a lot of attention in the country from which this mythology originates, which actually makes a lot of sense. And you can especially glimpse this when you look at the fact that if you go to the language tab here for reviews surrounding this game, when you compare English reviews versus other languages, you can see that English accounts for a minuscule number of reviews. Total number of reviews is 407,000 across all languages. Only 17,000 of those, over 17,000 of those, are in English. And obviously that 407,000 figure also counts for other regions as well. But it's safe to bet that, yeah, the majority of that huge number of reviews comes from China. And so looking at the ratio of English reviews versus other language reviews, it's safe to say that the majority of sales surrounding this game comes from China. And somebody kind of aptly described the Chinese market and the fact that in the country there are over 750 million gamers, more than the entire US population, with 20% year-over-year growth. And people are asking how a game based on the most popular national legend of all time is beating records. And the reason for this aggressive tone is that some people are getting mad at folks who are highlighting the fact that the majority of players are from China. I don't know why that's cause for hostility. That's just the numbers. That's just facts. And we're still looking at numbers that suggest that the game sold still a couple million copies in, regions outside of China. So here's an article that took a look at VG Insights, which basically takes data and roughly estimates sales and the like. And according to VG Insights, China accounts, based on their analysis, for roughly 80% of total sales for Black Myth Wukong. And so that means that roughly 8 million copies sold came from China. And I mean, that's still 2 million copies sold, in the West and other regions. So that's still pretty good figures. The numbers are still pretty solid, for this being a new IP, kind of making its debut worldwide. even just looking at numbers outside of China, it's pretty commendable performance. But yeah, it's important to have context for how this game achieved such insane sales in such a short period of time. There's just a huge population of Chinese gamers who obviously were drawn to this game about this iconic mythology and character and legend. I myself have played a couple hours of Black Myth Wukong, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is somewhat FromSoft-esque, but with action that's a little more fast-paced. It's not perfect by any means. I do think there are aspects of the level design that leave something to be desired. Like if you're expecting FromSoft-style level design where it's this one seamless world where everything kind of loops around and connects to itself, that's not what this is. This is a fairly linear experience, and there are some sort of more open areas where you can explore a little bit. But it's relatively, I'd say, rudimentary exploration, and then the sort of adds and the weaker enemies in between boss battles, they're not all that compelling to fight. They're fodder. There are some performance issues, at least on PC, and this is with a 4090, so it's not perfect. But like when you get to what the game does best, which is the boss battles and the combat and the way Wukong's abilities expand all the transformations and abilities that you unlock and spells and you name it, and how all of that comes together when you fight these epic boss battles for a really cinematic and satisfying combat experience, combined with the incredible presentation of this game, not just in terms of fidelity, but also its aesthetic and the way it brings the Wukong mythology to life in such high fidelity, but also just, I mean, the attention to detail in the creature designs, the character designs, the monster designs, and how cool the boss battles are, and the challenge, the satisfying challenge that it offers. Ultimately, there is much more of a net positive in my experience playing this game than negatives. I'm personally having a really good time, and as someone for whom, when it comes to FromSoft games, the boss battles are my favorite part. I don't mind that this game is pretty much like a boss rush with some environmental traversal in between. I just wish the environmental traversal felt a bit more substantial and not just like a small bridge between boss battles. So that's, I'd say, my one criticism. But generally, this is a fun action game that I think is worth checking out, and that I think people really appreciate. You can tell that they really put their hearts and souls into this one. And if they plan to make more of this type of game, I'm curious to see just, the kinds of improvements they can make with future entries. I mean, if this is how they kick things off with this IP, I mean, it can only get that much better from here. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of everything you need to know about what's going on with Black Myth Wukong, my thoughts on its success, and why its success came to fruition the way it did, alongside my take on the game itself, having played it for a couple of hours. Just a lot of positivity surrounding this game across the board. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on the game doing so well critically and financially, and what you think about the game itself if you've played it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is everything for this video. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for tuning in to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions. Stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.